Hello, everyone. Welcome to this event hosted by School of Love. I'm Amelia Lindemann, and I'm really happy to see you guys. Would like to see more of you, so if you don't have your camera on, please put it on, because it's really nice just to see your face and yeah, see if you agree or if you disagree, or yeah, just to know um, how you're doing. And so, yeah, we're going to talk today about three highly recommended practices to do in a family. And yeah, so thank you so much for just making the time. I think we're in a lot of different time zones, but no matter where we are, sometimes it's really hard to just stop our day and sit down and listen to something, especially at the end of the day. In Europe, it's the end of the day. I know a lot of you are tired, or maybe it's the middle of the day if you're in the States and you had to chop up your day. So I'm really grateful that you made time for this. Often family, yeah, but I think it's so worthwhile to put any kind of investment into family. So yeah, I'm really grateful that you guys are here. I just wanted to talk a little bit about School of Love. If you're unfamiliar with it, it is an NGO which started in 2018, and our mission is to empower parents to have ongoing, empowering, and bonding conversations with our children about sexuality. And this is meant to prepare our children for the future, like we do with so many other areas of their lives, but also to really build up a support system with them in their any kind of challenges that they might meet with their sexual integrity. For example, knowing what to do when they're confronted with a challenge like pornography, and to just be there for them and support them. It's really hard these days. So yeah, that's what School of Love is about. And we really want to just create awareness and also support and help parents to get through all that. And what's really important is having this bond with our kids and to keep investing into that relationship. And so that's why we have Myrna to talk to us today. So Myrna is a family and relationship coach, and she is an experienced educator, speaker, and author of a book called 7 Gifts to Give Your Child. And she is a mom of 3 boys, 3 grown boys. Maybe I shouldn't say boys. Once boys, now grown men. And yes, so thank you so much, Myrna, for coming. And everyone else, let's listen to what she wants to teach us. Hi, Myrna. Welcome.
Thank you. It's so good to be here. So I thought I would introduce, let me find my PowerPoint to share here, a little bit more about me. And thank you, Amelia, for your introduction. Sorry, one second. Here we go. So this is my family. I actually have not only 3 sons, but 3 daughter-in-laws. All my kids are blessed, and 2 grandkids. And I was a teacher and an educator for over 25 years. And then I really, as being a teacher, I realized I really wanted to work more with parents. And so about 10 years ago, I began working with parent education programs, and I became a parenting and family coach. And I also had to work on, when you're becoming a coach, you also have to learn about all the things in your own life that you need to work on. So I worked with other coaches and various programs. And my desire is really to empower parents to strengthen their relationship with their children and to support them in having tools and skills to be able to do this. And then I also work actually with parents of adult children and healing the relationships there. And I believe that, when we have thriving, healthy families, that's actually the best testimony, best witness to our UC movement and our parents. And as Amelia mentioned, I do have a book, 7 Gifts to Give Your Child, and I'm gonna share a few points. But the point is today that we're talking about creating connection and belonging in the families as a foundation to be able to guide your children in whatever stage of life they are. So the reality is that the world that our children and grandchildren are being raised in today has changed a great deal over the last 20 years. People are living longer, so there's more 3 and 4 generation families. And yet, because we're a global community, we don't always live near our extended family. And then there's technology, which has changed our world forever. Your kids and grandkids don't know a world without cell phones and devices and all the challenges that come with that. But the more I've studied and learned and read, I strongly believe that regardless of all the technological advances, parents will always be the most important source of information and values for their growing children, even when they act like they don't want to hear anything from us. And also, children's greatest sense of security comes from the knowledge that their parents love each other. I think that research shows that, this is the #1 key factor when kids feel a sense of groundedness and security in their own life. And your mother said that children learn, feel, and resemble their parents' most valuable examples of love and the basic order of life. Children need that they can learn from and follow. So that means that we have a responsibility as parents to be learning and growing ourselves and doing our best to model the kinds of things that we want our kids to inherit. And also in terms of our relationship with our spouse, when children see their parents loving each other in a respectful, trustful, and positive manner, there's a better chance that they will also have that same kind of relationship with their future spouse. And one thing I often tell parents is, when the parents have an argument in front of the kids or a disagreement, oftentimes the kids don't see the resolution, which we talk about later behind closed doors or after they've gone to bed. So it's important to talk about the kind of things like, well, yesterday Dad and I had a argument, but we talked it through and we found a way that we can work together on it. It's important actually to talk about that point because especially if you're like most people, we do have disagreements in front of our kids. And one of the first tool that I'd like to introduce is something called couch time, which I learned many years ago in a parenting class. And it's where you and your spouse sit down and talk to each other. And ideally, it's in the presence of your children. If you don't have children yet, that's okay. You can still introduce this concept into your daily or weekly life. It's important that you're not talking about the problems. You're talking about, just connecting with each other. You're focusing on the connection with each other. And by doing this, especially if your kids are around, modeling, making your relationship a priority. This is really essential, I think, because when we do this, not only do we connect with our spouse, even if it's just a few minutes or a few times a week, then 1 time a week, 2 times a week, it's a way that we are showing what parents are supposed to be doing in terms of loving each other. So American author and researcher Brene Brown said, connection is the energy that is created between people when they feel seen, heard, and valued, when they give and receive without judgment. And I think that this is what the ideal of true love, of unconditional love, is meant to be like. And so when we care about each other, our spouses, our children, our grandchildren, then there's a powerful connection between us. And then that really is almost like invisible threads that connect us and they make a powerful bond. And actually, current research shows that lack of having this kind of connection in their life is the root cause of most addictions, when they don't feel connected to others. So as parents, as we're working on establishing a family culture that fosters love and belonging, it's most effective if we do it from a place of feeling loved and embraced ourselves. So it's important, I think, for us to recognize when we need some help to work through challenges that we ourselves face as a parent. And one of the chapters in my book is about the gift of being the best parent I can be. And that means, sometimes we have to make the time to talk to somebody, or to do some kind of meditation, or find out how to deal with anger or frustration. The way to teach a child how to take care of themselves is by us modeling that. Modeling is more powerful than any words that we say. Last week, I was at a church middle school and high school workshop, and I gave a couple presentations, and I asked the kids to help me, because after next week, we're going to have a Zoom meeting with all of the parents of kids who attended the camp. And I asked them to write on this poster board that I put on the wall what they wanted their parents to know, what they wanted them to know about One Heart Camp and about their relationship with them. And several kids wrote, "I wish that my mom or my dad would take better care of themselves, would make time for themselves." So I think kids notice this. We have to understand that, again, what we model, good or bad, is visible to our children. So the second practice is that of having some kind of family night. So family night can be anything that you create it to be. So if we think about it, all organizations, businesses, nonprofits have some kind of organizational meeting. And Two Fathers said that the family is the only organization or institution that God created. So don't you think that it's important that we have a way to make family important? So family meetings are an amazing tool to say that family is important and make it a priority. So if you don't have children yet, you can do a couple meetings. But to think about, what kind of family culture are you developing? And, how are you building relationships? And what kind of issues might need to be discussed or solved? So it starts with picking one night a week, ideally, where you can have a special food or a special dessert if you want. But the format of the family meeting is, first of all, it's meant to make connection with each other. And then the second thing is to maybe to have a place where you can teach your family values, and you can share it through books. You can do some kind of short reading. If your kids get older, they can help to plan it, to find some kind of short YouTube video that you watch and you discuss. Also, it can be a time where you can do something fun together, or you can also talk about the plans, or talk about plans. One time my kids and I and my husband, we planned a family trip, and it was a way to get them to have input about where we were going to go, and we asked them to do research, and then they came back. Of course, they were in middle school maybe. Also, if there's challenges that need to be addressed, you can talk about it as a family. It's also a time where you can share stories about your family history, your grandparents, and you could do it where if your kids are no longer living at home, then you can have some kind of get together. We have done it in the past where we had a Christmas gathering, and we had an Airbnb, and we were all together, and we spent time intentionally to talk about it. So I think you can call it whatever you want, but I think that it's important to make the family a priority. The three primary responsibilities of a parent is to love our children, to teach them how to love other people, and teach them to be responsible. And so we know from the 4 realms of heart that the child love is supposed to be the parent-child, where they find their identity and they feel loved. And we as the parents represent Heavenly Parent, and they learn, unconditional love and loving and serving others through our example, and also honor and respect through this relationship. And then the second realm of heart is the sibling love. And this is really a foundation for all the other relationships that they'll ever have in the future, whether it's, you know, friends or coworkers. Parent and child love is kind of like, you know, the foundation for their future bosses. And if we're guiding them by modeling how to love each other and how to resolve conflicts and how to show kindness, then it gives them a better sense of how to do that in the future. Also, in the family, it should be a way where we can have differing opinions. We can disagree, but we still love each other, and recognizing and valuing that we have different strengths and one is not better than the other, but it's going that we work together to create this family culture where there is love and kindness and support for each other. One of the programs that I teach, and I'm just going to introduce one idea here, is called the space between. So this is my third practice that I'm introducing. The space between is two people and their relationship. And so what we put into that space between determines the quality of the relationship. So if we put in negativity, then we get tension and disagreements. If we put in appreciations, gratitude, kindness, then we can get, you know, love for each other. And so disconnection or connection happens in the space between. So I believe this is something that you can teach in a family meeting about this concept of two people and the space between, and how we treat each other affects how whether we get along or not. And one of the challenges that I teach in Safe Conversations is having a zero negativity challenge. That means for one day or for 1 week, we try to eliminate put downs, criticisms, complaints, and then going beyond that to really appreciate and have gratitude. And if you want to do it as a real challenge, then you can have some kind of consequences where you have a jar or a bank where somebody has to put in money if they are negative, or they have to do some kind of housework. One resource for this is Masaru Emoto. He is a pioneer in the study of water, and he's done much research. And there's a YouTube video that you can find and you can watch it. And he has shown with these what molecules look like when you speak words of love, thank you, kindness, or hateful words. And over 20 years, he studied this, and you know, and if it affects water so much, and our bodies are 70% of water, how much more does that impact each of us when hurtful words are said? And then another thing, maybe for younger children, is an example of having a glass of water and saying, imagine that I give you this glass of water and then I add contaminated sewage to it. Would you drink that glass? Even though I put in only a small amount, it's highly unlikely that you would drink out of that one that's polluted. So just like the water, if we allow criticism and negativity and put downs to be part of our family culture, then it harms or taints our relationships. And then you can have a discussion about it. What would you think? What could we do about it? How could we be able to eliminate or lessen these negative words in our family? So in conclusion, I believe that parenting is an inside job. When we guide our children through our relationship with them, then we're helping them to make choices, to learn from their mistakes, and to develop their own moral compass. So I'm going to stop sharing. And in the chat, I put two things. One is one is I have a document about the family meeting, a little bit more details. And secondly, I have a website with I have a weekly blog. So if you're interested, you could check it out and you can subscribe to it. And there's a lot more content there. So thank you.
Yeah, thank you so much, Myrna, for those tips. So we have couch time and family night and the space between. What do we put in the space between?
Yes.
So really great things to remember. Now I wanted to open up some time to ask some questions to Myrna. It can be about what she just said or any kind of topic. So yeah, I have a question myself. So yeah, sometimes maybe we want to do something as a family that my husband and I initiated. But then one child is not motivated at all to join in. And then we spend so much time trying to motivate them just so we can do this one activity. And it's really hard. And so I'm just wondering, like, yeah, what's the best thing to do? If you have any tips for that kind of situation.
Yeah, I mean, a little bit of it depends on the child's age, but I do think that trying to, like, it's hard. If it's in the moment when you're leaving and they don't want to go, then it's much more stressful to try to figure it out. But if it's like you're talking about it ahead of time and one child says, I don't want to do it, I would suggest that you talk to the child individually, not with everybody else there, and find out why, what's going on, you know. And then it's kind of like what I teach in Safe Conversations is listening to them and then repeating back, oh, I see, you said this. Can you tell me more about it? By saying, can you tell me more? We give them an opportunity to say more. And then maybe you can also ask questions like, well, how do you think that the rest of the family would feel? What do you think that we would feel if you're not there? I think if it's something that's like an event that you're supporting one of the kids, like they have a recital or something, then we're a family who we support each other. We find this out. I think but finding out the why is important. What is it? Do they have too much homework? Do they feel stressed about it? Or is it they just don't want to do it because whatever? It doesn't mean that you have to say yes or no, that they asking why doesn't mean that I'm going to give permission to them to say you don't have to come. But I think that maybe the bigger question is, how do we support each other as a family? So that's part of the family culture, like doing things as a family is important. Maybe having conversations about what it is that you want to bring up ahead of time so that there's an opportunity to talk about it. And maybe there's a way to make it more enticing. We go have ice cream afterwards, or I don't know, something. Or asking your child, what would make it more interesting to you?
Mm-hmm.
I think it's okay sometimes to make it so that everybody doesn't have to go to everything, especially as they get older. Someone just put something in the chat. They when you have 12, 15, and 16-year-olds, I think it's important to recognize that they do have different interests, and finding ways to do something that everybody likes sometimes, and then making it sometimes that it's maybe a choice. They don't have to all participate, because I think if we dictate it, then there's usually more rebellion.
Yeah, that's true. Because those ideas that we have, like, come on, we want to go on a family walk, and then it's sometimes, like you said, maybe not so exciting for some of them. But yeah, I like how you said just prepare them ahead of time and ask maybe what would make it more fun or interesting for you. I remember when I was a kid, I loved that, like, after there used to be church pledge that we would drive to, and afterwards we would get a nice warm blueberry bagel.
Oh yeah.
I loved that part. So never underestimate food and the power of food.
Yeah, that's true. Connecting what it is you want to do as a family with something that they're interested in, I think is valuable. Yeah.
Right. Yeah. So I wanted to invite Natasha Hookway to ask her question next.
Hello. Hello.
Hello.
Natasha.
Hi. Yeah, thank you, Myrna. That's very interesting. Yeah, I have a question. Actually, two questions. Maybe your advice. I have a son, only one child, and the thing is, he always, everywhere we go to, he always wants to have me with him. That means it's also hard for the father because I always have to come with them. Also hard for me sometimes, yeah. And it's a big thing because, yeah, the father tries, wants to tells him he's 6 years old, tells him, come on, let's do this, let's do that. But it's a no, I want to stay at home with mama. And it's, yeah, big thing right now.
So you said he's 6 years old?
Mm, yes.
Okay, so does he go to school?
Yes, kindergarten.
And
Kindergarten. School is
okay,
gonna start soon. Yeah.
okay, and he's okay in going to settings, other settings without you?
Yes.
Okay,
I mean, depends. Depends. Yeah, now you're saying it. I mean, he goes to school. He's used to that. Sorry, he's just in front of me here. And he goes, and if you tell him what's happening, he's okay with that. But he doesn't like surprises so much.
Mm. Yeah,
Mm.
well, I mean, one thing that comes to my mind is to make a list with him, have him help you come up with things that he would like to do with his
Mhm.
dad. Is there some things that he would like to do with his dad? And then talk about it because he doesn't like surprises. Make a plan. Okay, in 1 week you're going to do this. In 5 days you're going to do this.
Oh,
Four
that's
days, and then even if he protests, I think at some point you have to say no, I can't go because
mm.
um I have this. I have something else I have to do. Whatever. Uh, but also maybe cultivating the things that you do. Do you do much together with your husband and you and him? Do you do many
Mhm.
things together?
We do on the weekends. But yeah, I mean, mainly I was the one, yeah, doing a lot of activities with him.
I
But
see.
on the weekends we do it together. Yeah. Mm.
So, so does he? I mean, some of it is the children's personalities. You know, each child. I remember when my middle son, I was teaching at the same school as him, but when every day when I went to drop him off at his class, he would cry, and so I had to go to my class, and I just had to remind him that he will be okay and that I'm going to get him at another time, and eventually he was okay with it. I think some of it is a transition time, but I think you know think about what kind of things he likes to do, and maybe like, does he like to play kick a ball at the park or something, and then maybe he and his dad, they go to the store and they buy a ball, and that's their ball, they play it to make some kind of activity that's initiated with his dad.
Mm.
But I don't know if we can, maybe have you ask him why does he not want to go with his
I
his
did
dad?
actually, yeah. And yeah, a lot of the times he says, "Yeah, I want to play with you." Well, that's the answer. Mm.
Hmm. Yeah,
Yeah.
maybe observe also, is there something that your husband can do differently? Is there some way that's maybe, so say for instance, if my kid is kind of an introvert and the dad pushes him too much, or he
Mm.
uses a loud voice, and that's just observe, or talk about I mean, observe and see if there's a different way for your husband also to approach him. But
Yeah. Yeah, I'm
I mean,
just thinking it makes sense. Yeah. Something. Yeah.
you said you had another question?
Yeah. Mm. what or how can you deal with certain situation when the child gets aggressive?
So it gets aggressive with
Mm,
you,
with hitting,
with other kids, when?
more with yeah with us.
Mm.
Yeah.
I mean, at 6 years old, I think you can tell him, that we don't like that. People don't like it when you whatever talk, say mean things or hit or whatever it is, and reinforcing. I used to teach kindergarten, so I would always say, the golden rule. You have to teach. We want to treat other people the way we want to be treated. That's the golden rule for everybody. Also, hands are for helping, not for hitting. Maybe there needs to be some consequence. If he's getting aggressive, then he needs to spend some. I used to have a chair in my classroom that would be the think about it place, so there's something that he needs to, that's a consequence. If he does this, then, I'm sorry, you need to think about this, because remember, we have a golden rule. We don't hurt each other. Hands are for helping, not for hurting. Or maybe also I recommend books. If you get some books from the library or something that talk about kids getting along versus someone who's hurting somebody or being a bully, because then it's not personal, it's objective. You read the story and then you talk about the characters in the book and how and then he might also need some, if he has really gets upset, he has emotions that he doesn't know what to do with. Sometimes having a way to get it out, like you know hit a pillow or something, or having something that he does instead of doing it to people.
Yeah.
Having an outlet for the emotion, when my three boys, who were like 6 years from the oldest to youngest, we used to have a punching bag in the garage, and so if they really needed to let something out, then they would have to do some time on the punching bag.
That's good, yeah. Yeah. Yes. Thank you.
Okay, thank you.
Thank you.
Yeah, thank you, Natasha, for your question, and Myrna also for your answer. I've been joined by my little assistant. His name's Elior, my son. So actually, we had one more question from a mom. She didn't make it, but maybe I can ask for her.
Sure.
Yeah, so I'll just get her question. So yeah, I think her kids are toddler to maybe around 5 or 6 years old, and she said there's a lot of love-hate relationship. So I was wondering, how is it best for the parents to manage interpersonal conflicts between the kids?
Yeah, I think there's some of it is just a given, that kids have to figure out how to get along. A couple of things. Usually I feel like the older one needs to have some place that they can play with their toys that the younger one doesn't get into. Or like I used to always tell my kindergarten parents when I sent home artwork that they have to find some place to put it so that the younger ones don't destroy it, And when my older two boys could play with Legos and the younger one didn't know how, they were too small for him, then we had to figure out a way to make some kind of safe space that they could still play with them. I think that's one thing to look at, is why are the fights happening? Is there enough separation or protection? And then I think it's also about teaching with the family culture. How do we work out problems? Like even for young children, I teach safe conversations for families, how they can talk about problems. So even with young children, the parent has to be maybe the facilitator, but the young child could say what's wrong, or the older child could say what's wrong, and trying to get them to say, I messages rather than you always do this or you never do this. Try to say, I'm frustrated because, and then, try to find a solution. Maybe the solution is that they play separately for a while. Also, I think it's very important. Kids get upset about things when they don't have enough attention from parents. Sometimes even the fighting can be a way to get attention. So as a parent, trying to notice things about our kids, not huge things, just like, well, you took the dishes off the table without me even asking you. Thank you. Oh, you were so kind to your brother. Thank you. Just noticing that means the parent is paying attention to the child and they notice them. And that goes a long ways in being able to be seen, heard, loved, and accepted. That. So I think looking at why the fighting happens, sometimes there's some simple solution. Sometimes they have to go play separately. Sometimes they need a way to be, like there's a time where the older one can, especially once they learn how to read, they can read to the younger one, but then they also have time that they can play with their stuff. And also just the family culture of trying to find ways to work out problems and just find solutions and have the kids be part of the solutions if possible. So there's a lot more probably I could say, but anyway, maybe that's enough for now.
Yeah, some really good things to think about. Yeah, especially I like this point that we have to consider, like maybe there's something else stressing them, like maybe a lack of attention that just makes them get triggered by siblings. And then maybe it's actually their only outlet to let out this emotion and comes out as anger or something.
Yeah.
But yeah, lots of good points to think about. Yeah, so thank you so much for answering all those questions. Yeah, we're actually going to move on to our next session, which is breakout rooms. And Myrna, you can share maybe your slide with the questions.
Sure.
And we'll post the questions in the chat. And so we'll be able to talk about these questions together. And yeah, if you need to just kind of break the ice, you can also just share about your day, where you are living, and how was your day so far? And then we can get into these questions. We will be sharing for about 20 minutes, and then we'll meet up back here to close. So yeah, thank you, and we'll see you soon. So welcome back, everybody. I hope you enjoyed sharing. I think, yeah, just speaking with other parents can really help ourselves as well. And so, yeah, thank you so much for making the time once again. And I look forward to seeing you at other events. And yeah, I just want to share how you can follow up with School of Love in case you aren't yet connected in any way. Here's a QR code that you can scan, and this leads you to a link with basically all our social media and also our WhatsApp group, which you can then join, and then you'll just stay updated. And also, yeah, there's also our website, Facebook, YouTube, and also our podcasts on Spotify and Apple Podcasts. So yeah, just this QR code leads you to all of those links. You can also just go to these links as well. So this first one is this QR code, or schooloflove.org. You can also go to our website and subscribe and check it out. We also have lots of videos and curriculum. It will also be revamped. We're gonna do a whole makeover on our website, hopefully this month. So yeah, you can keep checking if it's happening yet or not. And yeah, Stefan, thank you so much for being our tech. Today, Stefan Hutzfeld was our tech guy. So I really appreciate that, Stefan. And he just put in the chat the link schooloflove.org. And yeah, I would love to hear any kind of feedback from you all. My email is amelia@schooloflove.org. And I also want to just mention, coming up in August, we're gonna start doing an online sort of boot camp. And this will be a really small group, and it's to really help parents who really feel like they have no clue where to start in having any kind of conversation with their kids about sexuality, and they want to start. So if you're interested in starting and making that time to start this project with School of Love, then let me know. You can write to me at this email address and I can save you a spot. And so yeah, that's something exciting that's going to start happening. And otherwise, yeah, please keep up to date with all of our news in the WhatsApp group. Yeah, you can also listen to our podcasts for more content. I also interviewed, well, yeah, we had a conversation, Myrna Lapres and I think I've been saying your name wrong the whole time again. Myrna Lapres. I don't know if I said Lapres in the beginning. But yeah, she was also on our podcast and yeah, it was really great. We talked about teenagerhood. So yeah, check it out. Thank you guys so much for coming. And yeah, I hope you have a good rest or rest of the day.
Thank you very
Thank
much.
you.